3 seconds. Good morning, and welcome to the live streaming of our interview series for our quarterly newsletter, the Billabong Bulletin. I'm Noor, the literary coordinator of Billabong High International School, and we have a very special guest with us here today. Someone whose sheer presence fills the room with mystic and melody. An alumnus from the Mass Communication Research Center, Jamia Millia Islamia, someone who basically dons many hats, a perfect blend of music, art, and literature. He is a singer, a musician, a filmographer, a poet, and is also a photographer. His voice is part of the unique sound of one of India's iconic fusion rock bands, Indian Ocean. It's a pleasure to have you here with us, Mr. Joshi. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure is all mine.
All right.
Morning.
All right. Good morning. Before we begin with this interview, let us quickly have a round of introductions from the mellophiles of Billabong High International School, Bhopal. So what we have among the panel of interviewees for the day is Mr. Atharva Korde, who is an alumnus from the batch of 2015 and 16 from Billabong High International School. Mr. Adi Verma from the batch of 2018 and 19. Ananya Parak and Simran Ahuja are studying with us at Billabong High International School in grade 10. So I'm handing over the stage to all four of you for a quick round of introductions before we begin with the formal interview. We'll start with Atharv.
Hello, everyone. I'm Atharv, an alumnus of Billabong High International School, graduated in 2016. I was trained in Hindustani classical music and was a part of the music society called Snophoria at Shiv Nadu University. I'm currently pursuing my master's in historical studies from the University of Cape Town, and it's an honor to be interviewing you, sir.
Let's go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Adi Verma, and I'm a Billabong alumnus from the batch 2019. I've been playing drums from about 6 years now, and I also released my debut single, Rahi.
Fantastic.
Currently, I'm studying and pursuing music professionally from True School of Music, Mumbai.
Lovely.
Ananya?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Joshi. My name is
Morning.
Ananya Panak,
Hi.
and I'm in grade 10, currently preparing for my boards. I have been trained for 4 years of classical music, and I'm a national level basketball player, and I hope to pursue Indian Air Force, but I have a great interest in the music field, and I hope to be connected to it.
We'll have a singing Air Force pilot.
It'll be such a pleasure for people on board.
Yes,
entertaining.
Yeah.
Yes. Simran, quickly, before we begin with the interview.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Joshi.
Morning.
I'm Simran Ahuja, currently studying in grade 10. And I'm a kind of person who likes to portray my thoughts through art and painting.
Wow.
And I've also been trained in music for quite a few years now. And I'm glad to be interacting with you this morning. Thank you.
Pleasure.
All right. So let's formally begin with the interview. Yes? I give you a thumbs up. You start. I'm sure, Mr. Joshi, I'm sure you'll also be equally looking forward to it. The kids and I have been hearing a lot of your songs on you over the past few days. Yes.
No, it's a pleasure to be here, and it's lovely to meet such an enthusiastic bunch of interviewers. So
we get those
wonderful.
positive vibes from you. We get those positive vibes from you. So I'm sure.
Likewise. Let's start. Let's begin.
Yes, absolutely. Simran.
Yes, so I'll go on with the first question.
Yeah.
What does music mean to you? And did you have an inspiration that you would look up to while growing up?
See, music has always been an integral part of my life. I grew up in a family which was either composing music or singing, or generally, basically, there was an atmosphere of music in my place. And I was fortunate enough to have an uncle of mine mentor me in my formative stage. His name is Mohan Upreti. He's an icon as far as my I belong to a region called Kumaon in Uttarakhand, and he was an icon from that area, a musical icon, and he was considered one of the musical geniuses and one of the foremost composers of his times. So he affected me. He instilled into me um, a great love for folk music. But while growing up, we hear a lot of film music, and that was the era of the 70s, where one could kind of have a feel of that music. And um, I was very fond of, as far as the film music was concerned, I still am very fond of Mohammad Rafi Sahab. I used to try and copy him. As far as classical music was concerned, when you kind of sing well, most families try and put in the person into some kind of a disciplined teaching. And um, there was a gentleman called Ustad Ishtiyaq Sin Khan Sahab of Rampur Sahswan Gharana, a very mild-mannered, wonderful human being. And he started teaching me Indian classical music. But that was a time when one was not quite disciplined in terms of understanding the nuances of classical music. One was more interested in cricket and running outdoors. And we had a bunch of, um, quite a rowdy bunch of kids. But yeah, because I started learning classical music, I started hearing classical music. And till date, the person who has influenced me most in terms of his style of singing, or that अगर मैं उर्दू में कहूँ एक सोज एक चीज होती है, and you could have a technique of singing, but if you have that soz in your voice, लोगों के मुंह से अपने आप आह निकलता है, and that ah used to come from me when I used to hear Amir Khan sahab. Sheer genius. I mean, that feel, that texture in the voice, and that feel of singing. And I think I am greatly influenced by his style of singing. And later on, of course, one got to hear others. I used to sing a lot of Bhimsen Joshi ji's Abhangavani, so that person definitely influenced me, so on and so forth. And then Western music also became part of the music that was there in the house, because we used to have a small Murphy radio, and there used to be a program called In the Groove. At that particular point of time, there was no television, incidentally, and there were certain slots that we used to be there, and we used to hear a lot of. So I heard a lot of blues, and I heard a lot of jazz, and later, of course, groups like Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin, and so these are all kind of infusions that came into the life. Of course, being in Jamia meant that one was surrounded by poetry, Shero Shairi, and also the Hindi poetry, and one got to understand the nuances of ghazal. And Mehdi Hasan Sahab, for one, is always been my favorite. I sing a lot of his compositions, and yeah, as far as that line is concerned, he was my influence as far as my formative years were concerned. And later on, then I got to understand and appreciate the beauty of singing of a lot of other singers, ghazal singers, and that's kind of the journey that I have been through. And you obviously meet people, and then you hear people live, and um, all these influences subliminally, they're there in your mind. And when later on you become a little more mature in terms of your understanding of music, when you compose music, for example, all these influences come into play. and that is what happens now. And we compose music, all these influences come into play, and somehow, somewhere, little these little streams or these big streams that have been flowing in your mind, they play a very important part in the way you perceive music.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that experience. Loved it.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
During these past few years,
Mhm.
the independent music scene in India has developed quite a bit, right? And the independent artists are finally getting the fame and recognition they deserve.
Yeah, they do.
So, do you think we can expect to have a proper independent music industry parallel to Bollywood in the future?
So the independent music industry, even today, it exists, right? And we keep on getting this question about Bollywood, and this is that Bollywood is that ogre which is peering over your shoulders. Bollywood has produced some great music. It still does. Independent music artists make music for Bollywood today. You have Vishal Dadlani, who has a band, Pentagram, and still does music for films, and he does some great stuff. Um, I mean, you can't wish away um, Bollywood, and I think it'll be wrong to assume that it'll always be a part of the existence of the Indian music scene in India, because great singers have performed and are still performing as far as the Bollywood songs are concerned. So from the 100% material that comes out of Bollywood, there is a sizable material which is brilliant in the way it has been composed, in the way it has been sung. And now, if you look at the independent filmmakers, even they prefer a different sound. So you're hearing a, there used to be this hegemony of some composers and some singers. They were brilliant. They're fantastic. I mean, that 70s era is something that will always remain at the pinnacle of any Bollywood compositions that we hear even today. But yes, what has happened, the trend, the way it has changed is that the freshness of new sound has come into Bollywood. So in a film today, you hear maybe three different composers composing in the same film. It just happened. And that's brilliant, and that's interesting. And you started hearing more voices, more textures. Music is all about texture. It's about how the voice sounds, how it fits in, how the instruments are played, what kind of instruments that are played. And there have been influences. It's not an Indian sound, it is an international sound. So what I'm trying to say is, don't wish away Bollywood. Bollywood is not a monster that exists and it's eating away into the domain of others. Bollywood will always be there. It's part of our Indian psyche, and it's great that these independent musicians who are, for example, we do a couple of Bollywood films every couple of years, maybe, but it's not as much as we would want to do or we would wish to do. But yeah, I mean, because we have a unique sound. But there are certain others who have a unique sound and are doing this constantly in Bollywood. And you hear some great, wonderful music that comes from Bollywood as well. So I hope I have answered your query, because this is what I feel very strongly about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very well answered, Mr. Joshi. Yes. Because Bollywood is like inherent. It is intrinsic.
It's there. It's there. You don't wish it away.
That is why reality shows like Indian Idol and the like are so popular in terms of TRP as well.
Exactly. Yeah. But if you notice it, even in Indian Idol or any of these, it is the songs of the 70s that are played.
Yes, exactly.
So that, I mean, I miss the genius of those composers.
Absolutely.
who at that particular point of time, with all the problems, the baggage of problems that they had at that particular point of time, imagine that was a time when they were doing live recordings.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
it's also to the credit of the singers who sang so perfectly. There was nothing like an auto-tune. Today, it's a hidden reality that quite a few singers get their voices auto-tuned while the mixes are done. That perfect pitch, that perfect singing, there are very few who do that. And these yesteryear singers of ours, I mean, I remember there was this interview that I had heard of Lata Mangeshkar ji, and I mean, in her heydays, she had the most perfect voice. And somebody asked her कि आपके जहन में वो कौन सा वाकया है कि जो आपके मन में घर कर गया है, जो आप कभी उसको भुला नहीं पाती हैं. So she mentioned that one of stalwarts, हलीम जाफर खान साहब सितार बजाते थे. उन्होंने एक रिकॉर्डिंग में लता मंगेशकर को बोला कि बेटा जरा सा देना में साज मिला लो. Now, that is a huge compliment. She says, I couldn't sing that day. I was just crying. And I couldn't sing because this is a huge compliment. That your voice is so perfect. It's pitch perfect that somebody can tune an instrument with it.
Yes.
So that was a generation. You still hear Kishore Sahab, Manna Day, Rafi Sahab, Mukesh. I mean, amazing talent pool. Yeah, but they ruled the roost for a very long time. The heroes and the heroines were chosen because of if they fitted the voice at that particular point of time. Today is different. The scenario is different. There are different voice textures, and it's good because at least it has now opened out. The music industry has opened out to understand and accept these composers and the new singers, which is great.
That's right. I think we'll pass on the next question to Atharva. Atharva, can you be ready with your question, please?
Yeah. So we know that the Indian Ocean chapter in your life happened by accident.
Yeah, it did.
The band was at their peak before you joined them. So please tell us about the immediate challenges you faced and the moment when you realized that you're on board with Indian Ocean.
Yeah, so it's sad that one of the pillars of Indian Ocean, Osham, he had a stroke while coming back from US, and this happened at the airport. And that was the time he was hospitalized, and the show had to go on, and there were concerts that were lined up for them. There was a time when the band was trying out various people, and it was supposed to be a stopgap arrangement because they hoped like, hell that Osham would get better and come back. So I was approached by the band. In fact, Sushmit had called me up. He said, your voice is a lot like his in terms of its feel. Would you care to jam with the band and see if we gel with you and you gel with us? So I said, fine, I'll give it a try. And there was a 15-day period, and I said, I would like to listen to all your material. Could you just send it across? I used to hear, I have, it's strange, but I hadn't heard Indian Ocean as a fan before this. I've heard their songs, but I'd never sat, analyzed, and, get them in my system. So for those 15 days, I sat and wrote, analyzed every song to its finest details in terms of when the guitar comes, how many cycles, what is the tal arrangement, etc. I did notation structuring of the songs. And I had this booklet of mine, which was like my Linus's blanket. You know the character Linus, right? He has his blanket across his ear all the time. in one of the cartoon characters. From our times, I don't know if the kids know about it. But anyway, that is called it was my security blanket. So I went with this file of mine, which was beautifully printed out, and I jammed with the band, and they were surprised that I was completely and totally prepared. And it was not like the rehearsal was not stop, go, and stop, go. We just went through one go, bang. So that is when they said, can you come on board till the time Oshim gets better? I said, yeah, I will. And I remember 25th of December. This is exactly 11 years back. Oshim had another, stroke and attack, and he went. Now, we sat down and I was asked by the band, "Ab kya karna hai?" Till now, it was because I was doing my films, and I still do. But that was a time when I was doing a lot of corporate work, corporate films. And the question was, if my work interferes with the band's work, or if the band work interferes with my work, how does it go? Because I was not willing to let go of what I was doing and what I passionately love, which is filmmaking. So we sat down, worked it out, and fortunately, I have a extremely supportive partner in crime, a person called Kapil Batra. He's a very celebrated director, and he says, "Tu karna isko, dekh lenge, ho jayega." And it's interesting that for the past 11 years, I've carried on. I have done my film work. I still do. And I do the band work as well. And there are times when the band has been very supportive, because if there is some chunk of dates that are required for an important work that I cannot say no to, we don't take on shows. So in a way, that has been good. It's very tough because I'm straddling two boats, and both both require 110% or 150% commitment, and I try and give it that. It becomes tiring because I'm not growing younger. But yeah, I've been managing to cope up till now, and hopefully this will continue.
I think a lot of credit goes to you for your management skills, your time management skills, because I for one, I'm kind of a person who finds it difficult to manage everything in a go.
Yeah,
while
no,
all of us
but it happens, if you put your heart and soul into it, you can do it. It's not something which is.
Yes, you can. I mean, of course, you're an inspiration. So yes, when you can, yes, we can also try. We can try our bit for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But does that also mean that you have sleepless nights because you have to balance your time?
Our life is not easy. People see the glamour behind all this. You're on stage, you're faced with an audience of 5,000-10,000 people, and there's all this lights and effects, and you have great sound, etc., great music coming out. But we still do. I mean, because of the pandemic, unfortunately, things have closed down. But before that, we have had back-to-back concerts in different cities. And most of the flights are in the morning at 6 or 6:30 or 7 max. So you're getting up at 3 or 2 in the morning, getting to the airport 2 hours in advance, catching the flight, try and catch some sleep during the flight, reaching the venue, having a little bit of breakfast, try and sleep or freshen up because you might have to go for a sound check immediately. Go for a sound check, come back, freshen up. Then you have press interviews, etc., lined up. Maybe snatch an hour and a half of sleep, get to the venue, final sound check, get on stage. The concert usually finishes by about 9:30, 10. By the time you wind up, it's 11:30. Come back, have a late dinner, grab some sleep, get up again at 2 o'clock, get to the airport, catch the next flight to the next city. Now, that's not easy.
What it also means is, I think one must also have a very strong support system back home, talking about personal life. I'm sure you have.
My wife and my kids, yeah.
They've been
amazingly supportive, yes. I mean, the way they carry on and the way I mean, I'm like this guest who's coming in, picking up suitcase and getting out, So it's thankfully because of this pandemic, the one good thing that has happened is I've got to spend some time with my family, a lot of time with my family. I mean, we've been together for this long period, and we thankfully haven't got on each other's nerves. But yeah, I mean, that's one positive that I take from this.
Very well answered. Adi, are you the one who's supposed to take the next question forward? I'm so overwhelmed with the conversations and I'm so involved and engrossed that I might lose track. So please
What I
remember.
Okay.
A lot of great bands started in the same era.
Adi, you can be a little louder. I don't know. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah. I
hear
mean,
you.
your voice is a little faint. Yeah. Tell me.
Yes.
Is this fine?
Yeah, yeah. I'm good enough. Yes.
So a lot of great bands like Parikrama, Indiscreet, and Mother Jane
Yeah.
started in the same era as Indian Ocean. However, what I have observed is that Indian Ocean is one of the only few bands that has been able to sustain their sound and fans for such a long period of time. So, what, according to you, worked out for the band?
Well, it's a tough question. Indian Ocean. I mean, I would say that for the other bands as well. Parikrama is still working out, although we lost a very dear friend, Sonam Sherpa, a couple of years back. As far as our band is concerned, we've had a lot of changes. So Oshim went, I came in. Oshim was a unique musician who used to play the tabla and sing, which is very tough. I play the tabla, and I can do one or two compositions, but to sustain it over a concert is not easy. So we have Tuhin Chakravarti, who's there in the Indian percussion. Sushmit left, Nikhil Rao came in. So the band has changed faces. Rahul and Amit are the two pillars from the old setup. I have been there now for 11 years. And what I have seen and what, as a band member, I can tell you honestly, is that we don't produce or make music according to the trends that are going on.
That's right.
If there is a trend of hip hop, we don't do hip hop. If there is a trend of anything, there was this huge wave of Sufi music, which I used to find very annoying. Everybody was a Sufi singer, not realizing what the word Sufi means anyway. We never went into that. We make music which appeals to us. And by nature, I would say the band is a little lazy as well. Secret. But we take time making music. And if you've noticed, our pieces are very long. Yeah. We have 9-minute long compositions, 11-minute long compositions. Bhor is, I think, about 17 minutes, 16 or 17 minutes long. Now, all these compositions take time in evolving. And unless and until we are satisfied, it doesn't, we don't play it. And, the way we do our music, it's very organic in its nature. What happens is that we have a practice pad. We go there, meet up. Somebody would start humming something or strumming something, and suddenly, if it's interesting, then everybody starts join in. They join in one by one and say, yeah, isko karte hain, aisa karte hain, thoda isko change kar lete hain. And slowly and steadily, a tune emerges from a riff. And if it is interesting, if the whole composition becomes interesting, then lyrics come later. Most Indian Ocean compositions, which are not done for a film, which is a different ball game altogether. So the tune comes first, lyrics follow. And that's how we do it. So what I'm trying to say is that I think what has kept us alive is the fact that we believe in what we play. unless until we are happy about it, it doesn't go out. And incidentally, we record a song only after we have played it quite a few times in front of a live audience, because unless and until you gauge the reaction from the public, there's no point in putting it out. So, for example, last year we released a song, Aankhiyan Udeek Diyan, and that was a tribute to Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab, which was, we were asked by Times of India to do it. But before recording it, Nusrat, this particular composition, we played it many times in many festivals. And the reaction was absolutely fabulous. And we said, yeah, it's time we record it. And then we went ahead and one of our favorite recording places, we used to record at Yashaj Films Studios. And Shantanu Hudlikar, who's no longer with them, he is the guy who mastered it for us. And I think it's come out well. So this is the story of how we do things. And I think that belief in yourself, belief in your compositions has kept us alive and contemporary. And I feel very happy because the young generation who's used to hearing a huge spectrum of songs and genres still likes us.
Yes, sir.
There's no reason the band would not fetch the love it deserves. It truly deserves it. Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Simran, would you like to take the next question?
Yes, I'll do that. So, how do you strike a balance between music as well as filmmaking?
I think I've answered that question. So during the time when there is a lean period, my corporate filmmaking, usually I do a lot of films for corporates in terms of their promotional material or their profiles. Usually is around the time when there's a lean period for the band, which is April, May, June, July, some part of August. The band season starts usually in end August, September, and goes on till March. That is the period when we do the most shows. October, November, December are the big seasons for us. We travel a lot and we have a lot of concerts. And before the pandemic hit, we also go to US quite often. So that is usually around March, April. That is the period when we used to do the US tour. So it gives me the flexibility. So it's not that we are traveling every day and performing every day. So there are periods where I can tailor, if I'm doing a documentary, for instance, I tailor my shoot schedule in such a way that I know that this is the time when the band is not going to get shows. And obviously there is, I speak to the management, the people who manage us, and ask them ki bhai koi inquiries to nahi hai is time mein. So, and that then period is locked for me. And even if the inquiries come, they are shifted to the other dates. So the inquiries are also thankfully flexible. So if the person wants the band on next day and can shift it, usually it's done. So that's, I think up till now, the balance has been good. So, and I hope when this pandemic is over, hopefully, we'll start doing those tours again. Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Right.
Next.
So I wanted to ask that the music of films like Black Friday or Masan are exceptional because they contribute to the narrative of the film, which is generally missing in Indian cinema, where songs are used to, break the monotony. So being a filmmaker, filmographer yourself, like which route do you prefer?
I mean, obviously, I don't do fiction, for example. I am more into documentary and corporate films. So that's a different genre of filmmaking that I do. But as far as the real film, I mean, the other filmmaking is concerned, I mean, as you've noticed, we don't do films regularly. So people who like our kind of music and can fit into their narrative are the ones who contact us. And it kind of works for us. And I think that's a great route to follow because, and it's not just us. I think if you see certain interesting films that have come recently as well, the music is lending itself to the narrative. The songs lend itself to the narrative. It's not just us who are doing that. There are a lot of other people who are using the songs as a device to take the film narrative forward and not as a break because it is required. It is not a song and dance sequence, which I said there is a change that we are seeing, whether it's the making of films are concerned. Obviously, a bigger part is all entertainment. So when you talk entertainment, there has to be a song and dance number which comes in, which you cannot wish away. That's the majority of the population, when they go and see a film, they want to keep their mind out and watch a film just for the sheer 3 hours of non-stop entertainment where they don't want to think too much. And that's unfortunately the story, and that will continue for a very long time. I don't think that is something that you can wish away, as I said earlier as well. But more and more experimentations are happening. A different genre of filmmakers have come in, different genre of music composers have come in, and I think it's a great change that has been happening for many years now. I mean, it's not just. I mean, for example, Swades. It's a film that was made a long time back. Hear any of those songs? They're not a break, except for one or two, I think. But usually the songs are carrying the narrative ahead. And there are many more like that which are coming in today. So it's a new trend, and I hope it continues and flourishes.
Yeah. I think the works of Sneha Khanvilkar and Vishal Bhardwaj, they kind of resonate with the kind of work that you have done for films.
Yeah, because they also make different kinds of music, right? There's a different sound, it's a different texture. And there are filmmakers who want that texture. It is not, it's an unusual sound. It is not the same collection of sound that you keep on hearing all along. And that's what I'm saying. It's there, but it's far and few.
Well, thanks.
Yep. Next
Hello,
one.
sir. So the next question is like, we all know poetry and music compositions require both rhyme and rhythm. So what strikes your observation while creating such unique pieces? Like, what is your observation?
See, as I told you earlier, when we do music, we have the tune first, and then the composition comes in, the lyrics come in. We are fortunate that we have friends who are brilliant lyricists. I mean, there is a guy called Sanjeev. He's also a filmmaker. Sanju. He writes brilliantly. We have had Swanand Kirkire write for us. And you know, there are people who are there who contribute to the same kind of thought process that we have, and somehow it mixes in. And obviously, when you compose music, it is to a meter. Okay, every composition is to a meter. So the lyricist has to write to that meter. Now, on the other hand, suppose there is a film music that we have to compose. The lyrics come first. So we then have to adhere to the meter of the lyrics and compose it in such a way that the marrying of the lyrics and the composition is absolutely perfect. So unless and until you have the two gelling in beautifully, it sounds a little off. But there are geniuses who do this brilliantly. I'll give you an example. Gulzar Sahab, for example, and story of Gulzar Sahab and R.D. Burman. There is a song called Mera Kuch Saman Tumhare Paas Pada Hai. Suna hai aapne? So R.D. Burman used to get very heckled when Gulzar Sahab used to come with the lyrics which didn't have rhyming and meter. और जब वो एक इंटरव्यू में उन्होंने कहा, गुलजार साहब ने, कि पंचमदा के पास जब ये लिरिक्स पहुंचे तो उन्होंने कहा कि अगली बार सुबह का हिंदुस्तान टाइम्स दे दीजिएगा, मैं उस पर भी गाना बना देता हूँ. तो but it's the genius of Gulzar Saab to come out with such interesting non-rhyming lyrics, and it's the sheer genius of Panchamda to have composed something of that as well. And we've not had that kind of a moment as yet, but yeah, I mean, we try and fit in the lyrics somehow to the music that we do, and it works both ways, when the tune comes first and the lyrics come first.
What do you prefer personally? Like, you want the tune to come first and then we try and build the lyrics around?
See,
or...
that is the way our band prefers,
Yes.
because we normally come out with a riff and compose something,
Yes.
and then we add to it. One of our new compositions, which we have sung in that Bhopal gig that we did, that is probably the first song that has been written by us.
Wow.
Probably. It was jointly written by me and Rahul.
I see.
And it has lots of interesting elements. It questions the existence of God, which was also tricky. So the words go, "Tu hai ya nahi, man man mein hi main sochun kabhi kabhi. Tu hai bharam ya man ka buna, tu hai bhi ya hai nahi." So this is something that we did ourselves. So we did the tune came first. Ta-ra-ra-ra, da-ra-ra-ra-ra, da-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. Now this is a Kashmiri tune, which Amit used to hum.
Oh.
And his mother wrote the lyrics of that Kashmiri. It says, "One one ha purus chane amare sahibo mule hum nazi," which means मैं बन बन फिर रहा हूं, तू कहाँ है साहिबो, तू कहाँ है. और हमने फिर उसके ऊपर बनाया, "तू है या नहीं मन मन में ही मैं सोचूं कभी कभी, तू है भरम या मन का बुना, तू है भी या है नहीं. क्या तूने मुझे बनाया या मैंने तुझे बनाया, दिल ये माने मन वो माने, कोई जाने ना, क्या करूं मैं तू ही बता." So, कहीं राइमिंग है कहीं नहीं है, लेकिन वो एक मीटर में है.
Tune. So it fits in. It blends. It's flow. It's basically flowing.
It flows.
Yes.
It flows very
Beautiful.
seamlessly.
Yes.
But
beautiful.
It's an exercise which takes time. You know, you have to keep at it and try and make something which works.
I'm sure Adi and Atharva are all ears. They have a bright future ahead. I'm
Absolutely.
sure these
And all the very best to them.
little valuable inputs from you are going to go a long way for them in their respective careers.
Okay.
Thank you so much for answering that beautifully.
Pleasure. Yeah.
So, sir, the next question that I have is, tell us a bit more about all the band members of Indian Ocean. Like, who's the chilled out one, who's the waiting one, and who, you know, kind of
Okay.
is the most disciplined one, keeps the band in control. So, like, one word to describe all the members, like Akhil,
Amit Kilam.
Amit Kilam, Rahul Ram, Nikhil
Okay.
Rao.
So, Amit Kilam, I would say the word to describe would be gifted. He's an amazingly gifted musician, because being untrained, he plays the drums, and he's a foremost drummer of this country. He plays the guitar, he plays the flute, he plays the clarinet, he plays the guitar. There was an incident when he plays the piano as well. There was an incident. We were in China, and both he and I are early risers, and being non-smokers, we share the room. So we got up and we ventured out. We were in Guilin, a place called Guilin in China, and we went into this mall, which had a beautiful shop with amazing array of instruments, Chinese instruments, traditional Chinese instruments. And there was a Chinese harp. It's a very big harp. It's not the harp that you see, you know, which is standing. It's a, you have to place it on your lap and play it. You know, he instinctively went and started playing it. The shopkeeper came out and said, "You know, playing harp." And he says, "Well, I'm trying." So he's amazing. I've yet to come across somebody who's so multi-talented in terms of understanding the sound, one, and how to make use of that sound. He's very, very good with it. Rahul, well, Rahul is our resident Google Baba. He is a genius. I mean, he any question that you have on any subject, you can go to him. He's an ornithologist. He'll hear a bird and he'll tell you the genus, the structure, the wings are like that, the belly would be something, it is found in this area, when was it discovered? His parents were botanists, so obviously his interest in plants and animals definitely are there. There was one trip that we did, Amit, me and Rahul, we were in US and we did a road trip, went to the Grand Canyon to Sedona, and I remember there was this flat stretch of road, pitch dark. It was nighttime, no lights, and the sky was just full of stars. And Rahul started pointing out, this is so and so, this is the constellation. If you see from this tip to that tip, and we were looking at him and saying, "Tere ko ye bhi aata hai." So, I mean, he's a Google Baba. He's a doctorate, by the way. I mean, he's a doctor. He's Dr. Rahul Ram.
I
From
didn't know this.
yeah, he did his master's from IIT Kanpur, chemistry honors. Then he did his PhD in environmental toxicology. Brilliant guy. Then comes Nikhil Rao, who came in. Nikhil is also a resident genius. One of amazing minds that I've come across. For his age, this guy reads a lot, and he reads anything and everything. I mean, he can give you a discourse on history. He can give you a big discourse on technology. He can give you a big discourse on, you name it. I mean, and he keeps on hearing podcasts and analyzing them. And it is, I think both Rahul and he have eidetic memories. So they can recall brilliantly. You know, it's easy to have knowledge base, but to recall from that knowledge base the thing which impacts that particular discussion at that particular time. Both these guys are brilliant. Tuhin is a brilliant tabla player. He's the one actually who's learned classical music. I mean, he's learned tabla and he's doing his MPhil right now in that. But Tuhin is seriously laid back. You know, this is how I would describe him. As far as disciplined is concerned, I think that would be me. I'm very finicky about things in order and made fun of. I'm very particular about time. I'm as Rahul points out, he's the first one to know if the flight is late. So, yeah, I make triplicates of triplicates. So, you know, in terms of keeping things in order, and then I have a bad case of noticing when things are disarrayed, and I have a habit of putting them in order. And I'm the organized one, yes. So this is what the band structure is.
It was, you know, so exciting to know the different nuances and the way they function, and you know, how are they? Because a lot of people do want to know how different band members from Indian Ocean are in their personal lives and what kind of personalities.
One more thing I forgot to mention about Nikhil Rao is, again, a self-taught guitar player. But the beauty of that man, I mean, his knowledge basis, he teaches guitar today. That man plays He can play jazz with equal aplomb, or rock and roll, or Indian classical music, North Indian classical music, and Carnatic classical music on the guitar. That is self-taught. It's amazing what that he works on himself every day, every single moment. I mean, I look at him with a lot of admiration and respect. For his age, this guy is just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Wonderful. Now, this brings us to the end of this interview session. But wouldn't it be highly unfair on our part if we let you go without having to, avail this opportunity of hearing you live? I'm sure all the audience who are hooked on to this session right now would want to hear a lot of you. And I'm sure Adi and Atharva also have something to play for us, if with your due permission. Once,
please, I would. It would be nice. Okay, so there is one Indian Ocean composition which we don't get to do as much as we want to, because it's very long, and in a concert which is bound by time, we have not been able to do it. And usually play it when there's a discerning audience, one, and when we have time, two. We have sung this in a different version, and I'm going to sing that version for you. In Masan, it comes in the end. The title of the composition is Bhor. It's about this bird who has a Sufi experience, which is very interesting. Yeah, so आंखें मूंदे लुट ही गया, कोई और बसे मेरे हाल। आंखें मूंदे लुट ही गया, कोई और बसे मेरे हाल। अल्लाह मेरे चिड़ी बाज ने, अल्लाह मेरे चिड़ी बाज ने ऐसा फेंका जा। भोर 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 भई एक उड़ता पंछी, भोर 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 भई एक उड़ता पंछी। जा बैठा एक डाल, जा बैठा एक डाल, जा बैठा एक डाल, जा बैठा एक डाल। भोर 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 भई एक उड़ता पंछी, भोर 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 भई एक उड़ता पंछी।
Wow. I think I'll have to do this. I can't really hold myself back. I'm sure all of you can unmute yourself and clap. Let's hear
that
the
was like
vibration.
really incredible.
I really have goosebumps right now. It
Hey,
was
thanks. So sweet.
Could I also request you to sing two lines of Jind Meri? I've been kind of listening to this on loop for the past few days. It's beautiful. Just two lines. I wouldn't want to.
Jind Meri, which
the one which is there on the website, your personal website. I've been listening to it on loop.
Oh, okay, that.
Yeah, just two lines. The lyrics are so beautiful. I mean, if it's easy, I mean, if it comes easy to you right away. Otherwise, it's absolutely fine. I can adjust.
This is something that I did so many years back, and
that's okay. That's okay. It's okay. It's beautiful. It is so soulful.
Now, so this is something that I learned. These are called Punjabi bolis, if I may tell you, and the words are very interesting. And if you hear them very carefully, it is "Lake tereya danda vich mekha, मौज सुनियारा ले गया जिन मेरी है, तेरे दांतों में सोने की कील लगा के सुनार बड़ी मौज ले गया." So this is a typical, I would say that gregarious Punjabi attitude. And Jatti na ke chhappad chon nikli. Jatti is Jatni, the lady. Jatti na ke chhappad chon nikli. वो नहा के अभी बस बाहर आई है, सुल्फे दी लाट वर्गी। सुल्फा इज दैट हुक्का जब पीते हैं आप तो उसमें एक नीला एक धुआं ऐसे ऐसे चलता है, तो सुल्फे दी लाट वर्गी। आई मीन शी इज लाइक दैट मूविंग
Okay.
धुआं। सुल्फे दी लाट वर्गी जिन मेरी पानी दा रंग लाल हो गया, जिन मतलब पानी भी शर्मा गया उसको देख के। इट्स वेरी ब्यूटीफुल। आई मीन दैट
Poetic.
so I'll sing out these two lines. It's बहुत सारे हैं इसमें.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I hope we are not bothering you, but we
Not
can't
at
really
all, not at
hold
all, not
ourselves
at all,
back.
not at all.
It's
So
a
this goes
pleasure
something like
listening
this.
to you live.
ਹੋ ਲਕੇ ਤੇਰਿਆਂ ਦੰਦਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਖਾਂ, ਹੋ ਲਕੇ ਤੇਰਿਆਂ ਦੰਦਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੇਖਾਂ, ਮੌਜ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਰਾ ਲੈ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਜਿੰਦ ਮੇਰੀਏ, ਹੋ ਮੌਜ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਰਾ ਲੈ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਜਿੰਦ ਮੇਰੀਏ। हो जट्टी नहा के छप्पड़ चो निकली, हो जट्टी नहा के छप्पड़ चो निकली, सुल्फे दी लाट वर्गी ओ जिंद मेरी, पानी दा रंग लाल हो गया ओ जिंद मेरी। हो लहू दा आवाज आवे, अल्लाहुदा अल्लाहुदा आवाज आवे, खुली नी फकीर दे विचों जिंद मेरी, हो खुली नी फकीर दे विचों हो जिंद मेरी। I took the liberty of singing this one. It means that
Oh, it's beautiful.
फकीर
Thank
के
you so much.
फकीर की कुटिया से अल्लाहू की आवाज आ रही है। मतलब एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत, जो पुराने फकीर होते थे जो,
Exactly.
तो उसका
Excellent composition, lyrics,
it's a very
wording.
it's a folk composition, and I think it goes back at
Exactly.
least about
Vertically arranged.
300-400 years easily.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Atharva, would you want to strum some guitar with Mr.
Yes,
Joshi's permission?
if I have your permissions.
Please.
All right, so I'll do a quick snippet of Ali Sethi's Chandni Raat, and we can do a quick virtual sound check if the guitar and everything is audible.
Works well.
चांदनी रात बड़ी देर के बाद आए है, चांदनी रात बड़ी देर के बाद आए है, लब एक बार बड़ी देर के बाद है, लब एक बार बड़ी देर के बाद
क्या बात है?
है, चांदनी
वाह।
रात। Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Very well
Lovely,
done.
lovely voice. Ali Sethi is one of my current favorite performers. He's very, very good. This
Oh,
from
it's
the Coke
beautiful.
Studio version of his, right?
No, I think this is an independent song.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Very nice, very, very nice. God bless.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, very nice. Anybody else?
Yes, I think Adi is also bubbling with some excitement.
Song with you. I think I just share the audio of my song with you.
Okay.
Because I don't sing, but I wrote the song, I composed it, and I produced it myself. So I just
Oh,
want
wow.
Rahi, that's Rahi, right? Adi?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Are you going to play the piano for us?
I haven't prepared anything, so I'm not ready.
That's okay. Just whatever you feel like, it's okay.
Just play it.
I'll just play the second verse and the chorus of my song. So
All right.
one second, I'm so sorry. I have
Distorting, so I think you need to pipe down the volume a little.
कहीं बातें थी बहुत सी करनी जो पूरी अब ठहर गई, तुझ में बसी जान ये मेरी, जो रेत सी बन के अब फिसल रही। तू राही मेरा अब राह पे अकेला, आज छड़ के ना यूं तो जा। तू राही मेरा अब राह पे अकेला, आज छड़ के ना यूं तो जा। अधूरी
Brilliant, yeah.
Yes,
You know,
indeed.
ये सुन के दोनों को सुन के ऐसा लग रहा है ना, फ्यूचर सिक्योर है अपना आप ही।
Under your guidance, I'm sure.
Not at
Oh,
all.
they're picking
These
up.
kids are wonderful. Today, I listen to all this talent and talent pool across India, and it's just incredible what these kids are doing today. It's just really amazing. My advice would be to keep your eyes and ears open for not just the kind of music you want to do, but also the kind of music that is being played across the world, not just India. I've been hearing some great bands, old bands, just it's and hear the folk bands. There's a Turkish band called Lako Taifa. There is a band of Tuareg tribals from the Sinai Desert called Tinariwan. Just hear them to understand what these guys can do. It's incredible that there's a wealth of music across this entire world of ours. You just need to tap it very carefully, and you'll find it. And now everything is on your fingertips, on your phones. But please use a headphone, yaar. Phone pe mat sunna, अच्छा नहीं लगता.
That's a great point to make.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
half the things you don't hear. Then,
Yes.
the
bass.
whole exercise of this poor musician or the group which has created that number gets lost because you're not hearing most of the work that they've done. It's just a very superficial, tinny sound which is coming. Even if the phone is very good, it still doesn't cut any ice there.
Simran and Ananya, would you also want to just pitch in? I'm just asking you. I don't know if you feel like, otherwise it's absolutely fine. No?
I don't think so.
Okay, no
So I
worries.
think we come to the end of the session then.
Absolutely, we do. And what a befitting way to end this session, especially now when we have Rang Panchami here in this part of the region, celebrated extensively. And we've kind of spread different hues of creativity, melody, and music with your soulful, stirring, and incredible music. And we had the opportunity of hearing you, Adi, and Atharva live. Thank you so much to each and every person right here for joining us for this interview session. And I really wish a very happy weekend, long weekend for people who are sitting back at home and enjoying this session. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.